do that. All right. I can see you.
Okay, so what was it you did to then?
Huh?
So what was it you were objecting to?
Okay, so you said that it's not racism. Okay, racism is defined as like one race being. Okay, can you actually start your definition, like your belief? Because I was confused with the way you wrote your statement.
All right. Well, it's not my particular belief necessarily. This is like if you Google define racism, it's what comes up. This is like the literal definition, which is the belief that members of each race possess characteristics specific to that race.
Okay.
Which that inherently, I don't really see it as being necessarily good or bad. But I would also say that it's kind of true that races have characteristics that distinguish them from other races. So just based on that at its core essence, I don't really see how it's necessarily good or bad. And there's no people like to say, oh, racism is about black people can't be racist or Mexicans can't be racist because they don't have the power level there. Well, that's actually not a component of racism by its actual definition.
Okay, so the way, like, as in Americans use racism, do you think it's the way it's defined on dictionary or a website?
I'm saying that they need to either pick a new term for what they're currently describing as, or they need to update the definition of racism to match what they currently. But when they use the term, I guess I'm saying that they're misusing. Definition.
So it's the way defining one race characteristics, right?
Right.
So while defining black people, most people usually use words as like loud, disrespectful, obnoxious, such words like that, right? When you're calling people that kind of name, that is a form of racism, because not every black person is loud, not every black person is obnoxious, not every black person is annoying. That is a form of racism. It depends on the way you use it.
Well, right, but that's what I was. I mean, my whole point is it's not necessarily good or bad. It can be, and what people choose to do with that, then recognizing that yes, there are certain things that make Hispanic people unique to other races. Recognizing that fact initially is not, I see, as a bad thing. It's true, but then what you words and then decide, therefore, Hispanic people should be elevated above other people because of these differences, or Asian people should be lowered below because of these differences. That's not a necessity of racism. That's what it's become, but it's not the fundamental thing.
I got what you're saying. But like most of the time, like when you're always stereotyping someone, or you're always like classifying someone as some like things, like it becomes power. So if you're always told you're good, if you always say, okay, Caucasian people are good, Caucasian people are smart, blah blah, like it holds some kind of power mentally. Usually it's not like we're like, materialistic things, but mentally you feel empowered because so many people think you're great. So it has some kind of power to it.
Oh, I mean, when I was talking about power, I mean, usually people a lot of the times will say, like, minorities can't be racist because they lack the structural power to actually do anything about it. They'll say, oh,
that is true.
They're generally in society are marginalized to a point where they can't actually they don't have the power. Other races, the way white people is the typical argument. That's not. Like it just doesn't have anything to do with racism. So I mean, it's a component of that. It's of what racism has become, but there's no actual necessity to have social power to be racist.
I mean, I do agree that minorities can't be racist. There's a reason that it's like, okay, for example, like let's say you are okay, let's say like it's like a kindergarten and like a fifth grader argument. Fifth grader is way bigger. The fifth grader has a lot more, how do you say it? Yeah, they're bigger. They have a lot more resources they can like, use against you. But the kindergarten has nothing to like support themselves. So it's not really a fair argument, or it's not really a fair battle. Do you understand? So there's no point in minority being racist, because we are here to get better jobs, better education. So like if something were to happen, like Americans can literally kick us out. Like, do you understand? So we can't really be racist to the country that we came into. I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, no, I got you. But I mean, okay. So I mean, my thing is just though. I mean, so you said minorities don't have a reason necessarily to be racist, but that doesn't.
No, it's more like we don't have
the ability to be racist, and I think they do.
So we've been like Black Lives Matter, all that movement. With that, like, it's not a form of racism, but it's a form of like, standing up for yourself, like stating what's wrong and all that. But like that has very little effect in America. Like it gets very little attention. We've been doing this for so long, and still no change has happened. So you can actually like reverse that as racism. Let's say we are racist, like we get no recognition for that. Do you understand? Like we're so little. We're all like how many percent? We're 12% of America. Like America, Black people got 12% of the population. So we can't be racist because we're over dominated.
Right, but I mean, I get that there's, so how do I phrase this? I get that there is a different dynamic that in terms of how much sway and power certain ethnic groups have in America as opposed to Caucasian. But that doesn't, again, I would just say like racism isn't that there's no necessity that racism involve systemic oppression. And thus I think, and even if you take a more just casual definition of racism, which I guess would just be like a hatred of certain races, I don't see how minorities can't have a hatred of other races.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't see why they would have a reason to, but they have the ability to. I can say, yes, I hate white people, or I hate Asians, or whatever. Like, I clearly have that ability, and I can clearly be racist and discriminate Asians if I wanted to, or white people. So I can be racist.
Oh, yeah.
Minorities totally
can. Oh, yeah, completely.
And many of them are racist.
But no, you're right. No, we can be racist, but to a certain extent. We can be racist in our homes. Do you understand? We can be racist in our mind, but we can't take it outside of our homes. But white people, they have the ability to do that. Like, I can just say, oh yeah, okay, I don't like Mexicans, I don't like whites, but I can't go out there and be like, oh, Mexicans, they're so annoying. But white people, they can do that and they can get away with it. Do you understand? Like,
well, I mean, I think there's a certain push now on like college campuses. Obviously not all, and college campuses, and so only a select few incidents where I've seen this, but where African American students wanted to have some sort of event on they wanted to have an only Black event, and they actually removed a white student who wanted to show up to the event, actually wanted to like participate in it, and then they said, oh no, you can't do this, it's not, white people aren't allowed here, we're only going to have Black students. That to me is essentially like, well,
no, definitely, yeah,
60 years, that's exactly what, so that was the problem, and now you're going back, and now you just
no, I do not agree with that. I mean, they should have done that. That is a form of racism, I believe. But again, like, not like all white people are the same. Again, Black, not all the same. Do you understand? So, I mean, like, we do have to race, like how you said, like, it's like a defining characteristic of certain race that could lead up to power and depression, all that stuff. That is the stand on it. But I don't think that all white people are the same. Like,
I mean, it can lead to, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It's not.
But in America, it is, though. In America, it is leading up to that. I mean, it already did.
Right, it can. But I mean, so I guess my point is that I just would say that I think you need
what
to.
Does it mean, but it's not?
Need to come up. We need to come up with another term for what this is, or we just need to the definition of racism. Because I agree that racism, that even though it may be defined in that way, is not when we say racism now. That's not what we mean. We mean things like systemic oppression or using ethnic slurs at people and treating them negatively based on their race and doing, attacking people based on their race, things like that. That is what we mean, which is not the actual definition of racism, but that's what, when we say that, that's what we're implying. So to then come up with a new term or just update the old one.
So you have an issue with the word now.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't have, my argument is more purely like semantic. It's more of a linguistics point.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. What is the diversion? What does he mean? No, but it's not.
Oh, that's the definition. Not in 2016, but it's not. I don't know. So I think it's like, even though that's the definition, it's 2016, and that's like basically what I was saying. That's not what we mean when we think of racism today.
Yeah, it has changed.
But it's not.
I mean, it's always been the same, but well, yeah. I'm glad we agreed. That's it. It's my first debate. It's so funny.
All right, cool. Yeah.
All right, bye.